everyone. Welcome to CMO Weekly, the show where we sit down with the world's top marketing leaders to uncover the bold moves, tough lessons, and breakthrough ideas that shaped their journey. Every episode, we go beyond the headlines to explore what it really takes to build brands, lead teams, and stay ahead in a fast-changing industry. I'm Hayley Clover, and this is CMO Weekly. CMO Weekly is brought to you by Open Fortune, the only marketing company putting your brand inside actual fortune cookies. Yep, those cookies that you crack open after dinner, they're now prime real estate for your brand message. Open Fortune distributes millions of branded fortunes every month through thousands of restaurants nationwide, giving brands a moment of surprise and attention that no banner ad can match. Want to reach people when they're smiling, engaged, and ready to share something fun? Head to openfortune.com to learn more. Okay, my guest today is a master of blending mission and marketing at scale. Amina Pasha, the CMO of Thrive Market. She is combining values-led brand storytelling with digital precision. She led the e-grocer past $500 million in revenue, helped reach over 1.2 million members, and raised millions for food equality, all while positioning Thrive as the world's first climate-positive grocery platform. We have so much to talk about, so let's welcome to the show, Amina Pasha. Woo!
Thank you so much, Hayley. It's a pleasure to be here and really excited to talk my journey and all things Thrive Market.
Yeah, I'm really excited to chat. I think at this point, even if you haven't maybe tried it, you've absolutely heard of Thrive. You've seen Thrive's ads on social or online. And like I was telling you a bit before, your team was so generous to send me a box so that I could really have the full experience before we chatted. And it's just so much fun and so delicious. And so I'm excited for everyone to just kind of hear, how you found yourself at Thrive and, where you see Thrive moving in the future. But first, I'd kind of love to chat a little bit about how your career started and how you found yourself where you are today.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey, and it's funny when you start off your career, a few years feels like a lifetime. And now I've been 20 years in marketing, and I feel like I'm just getting started. It's just a complete, insight that you have 20 years in. So I did start off my career at P&G, so Procter and Gamble. So I was very classically trained for the first, I'd say, 12 to 13 years of my career. And I started on a very special brand that to this day just, connects with me emotionally, is Pantene. So I worked several years on Pantene. I did Wella hair colorants. And then I moved into the wonderful world of baby, and I did Pampers and global Pampers for about 5 years. And then I worked on Crest and Oral-B. And so I got to work on some of the biggest, most iconic brands. But oftentimes, these brands were struggling. They were not all success stories. So even brands like, Pampers that had a decade of growth suddenly got hit by some sort of crisis. Or Pantene was at that time not connecting emotionally with younger women. It was connecting with, almost too old women, particularly in the countries that I was looking at in the Middle East. And so a lot of my learnings were very much what I call general management based, trying to really understand the brand as if it's like an entire end-to-end experience, and really navigating and influencing ways to bring change to the consumer. And so a lot of consumer mastery, a lot of general management. I remember on Pantene, the insight that led us to change everything was, more than 3/4 of women in the Middle East were below the age of 24. Yet we were marketing to like the 45-year-old, 50-year-old woman. Down to the product formulations were wrong, the messaging was not connecting, and we were losing market share. And with this insight, we actually learned that countries like Pakistan and whatnot actually need to be merged into a different region, not part of Europe, but part of, at that time, what we called Asia and India, because they have much more younger marketing. They have Bollywood actresses. The messaging is about damage because young girls are doing so much more to their hair. And we were able to really turn around the brand by thinking holistically from the consumer, like what are all the pain points and how do we kind of solve each of these? And so career started very much, through building brands and learning all about how to scale those brands even beyond where they were. And then I had my son, which was a very pivotal life moment. Got married, had my son. And it made us, for my husband and me, rethink life choices. And at that time, it wasn't the perfect timing, but it was an opportunity that just fell in my lap. There was an amazing opportunity to join as, head of marketing for the Honest company. And Honest was, female founder led, mission driven. It was looking at beauty and baby. And it just felt like a huge calling for me. It felt like everything I had learned had come to, a culmination for this big pivot. And so we decided to take the plunge, and because definitely my husband was part of this journey. I had a 4-month-old baby. I had my mom, my mother-in-law, a whole army of people helping me so I could take on this new job. And we moved cities, changed everything except my husband. And I was really able to not only add a lot of value at Honest, but also learn a lot about mission-driven brands, about DTC and e-commerce and digital marketing, but also how to scale through CPG of beauty and baby. And it was a phenomenal experience, learned a lot, and then happened to meet Nick Green, the founder and CEO of Thrive Market. And interestingly, I have never worked in food, but I have a huge passion in this space, particularly this healthy lifestyle and healthy living space. And everything he was talking to me felt like this is such an underdog brand. This is such a, one of those truly brands that are not talking, but are doing everything the right way, from the way he was talking about how the fulfillment centers were set up to how they, were mission born. They were not mission backed. They really believed in making healthy living easy and affordable and accessible for everyone from day one. And every person I met at that time, I could just feel the mission, coming out of them. And it was really real. It was authentic from inside out. And it just felt like the next calling. And so I joined Thrive Market 5 years ago. And it has been a phenomenal, growth journey on every lens, I would say. Personal growth for myself, personal transformational growth. I came in as SVP. I got promoted into CMO shortly after. But I learned so much in this business. And I got to also add a lot of value because I had the Honest experience. I had the GM style P&G experience. So combining digital, D2C, brand and performance, and being able to have, the best of those two worlds together, I was able to very quickly add value at Thrive Market, even faster than at Honest. And lo and behold, we're north of 700 million now. We have 1.6 million members. Our brand equities are very strong in terms of healthy and organic and sustainable. And we're winning with parents, which is our primary target audience. We call them wellness champion parents. And parents have been, an audience that has been struggling. Child obesity is on the rise. It's hard to find healthy that's tasty, healthy that's easy, healthy that's affordable. There's so many, kind of barriers against healthy. And Thrive is there to really, break down those barriers and make it easy, affordable, tasty. So your kids are going to enjoy healthy once again. And that's why I came to Thrive, because I feel, I have 2 boys now. So I went from 1 to 2. And to me, my entire mission is, how do I make them, understand what healthy is and appreciate that healthy can be all these things, and it can be tasty and fun and cool. And so that's my journey throughout those 20
I love
years.
that.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool, all of the experience that you were listing, but also your motherhood experience is massive, all, right, in terms of knowing how to speak to your audience, but also just knowing what you want for your children and how, you want your kids to be able to eat healthy and have that healthy lifestyle. And so how important it is to be able to, like you said, work for a company that you trust and is going to be able to offer them that type of living.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think, you obviously had that at the Honest company as well. So was mission born always something important to you when looking for a job or kind of working, with those types of companies that are giving back?
Yes, I think mission always was important, but my understanding of mission evolved as obviously I had these life experiences, and having a son, really made me realize that, I'm going to be working for the next 15, 20 years of my life. And what impact I bring is going to be my legacy to not just myself, but to my children. And I want to do something that is going to be more impactful than just my career, more impactful than just the realm of my job. And that's what I felt with Thrive, that I'm having a 1+1 effect that's having a massive effect across the nation. And my job is to really bridge that gap so that more moms and more wellness champions are aware and have solutions at the door, right? And I think that's been that legacy leaving effect has happened now. And I want my kids to be inspired that whatever career path they pick, they can have that multiplying effect, right? It has to be. And I think we're fortunate now to have those choices in front of us with the career choices we make. And to be honest, I often joke with my team. There was a time, like I remember early in my career, where you had that Sunday evening anxiety. Oh, I have to go to work and I'm stressed out, and like, oh my gosh, I'm going to wake up and it's going to be crazy email inbox, right? And I will say in the last 5.5 years, I have none of that anxiety. Yes, there are business turmoils. We go up and down. We all have that. But I really wake up excited Monday morning because I'm like, what are all the things we can accomplish with a mission-driven business? Like, what are we going to do different? How are we going to impact people's lives, right? And you then start realizing your career is actually just an extension of your life, right? It's like work-life integration. And at Thrive Market, we are remote first. So we really build that, healthy lifestyle within your day across your work, right? And so even when we do like an all hands, halfway through, we'll say, okay, guys, everybody stand up and just move. Like we should not be sitting throughout an entire 1 hour meeting. Like everybody needs to get up and move. And building in these movement habits throughout the day for each of us, or taking a one-on-one and going for a walk outside, right? I think that's fantastic. It's like taking your lifestyle and extending it into your day-to-day career. And so you wake up feeling healthier, you go to sleep feeling healthier, and it's those rituals in your career that matter most. And a lot of times we take this for granted. These are the kind of intangibles in a mission-driven business and career that had so much more meaning than just like a monetary raise or something more tactical. These are the ones where you feel like, okay, I'm extending my lifestyle to something much bigger.
I love the idea of a one-on-one walk. Taking my one-on-one outside sounds fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned that the challenges that you went through building brands at P&G and just kind of your transition through Honest to Thrive and how you were able to really kind of hit the ground running when you got to Thrive. Can you talk a little bit about the specifics of why you were able to scale and help scale so quickly when you got to Thrive? Is it specifically just how the business was set up, or just truly your past experience had kind of led you to a point where you were like, I know exactly what needs to be done? If you could tell us a little bit about that, that would be great.
Yeah, that's a great question. And, my honest experience coupled with my P&G experience was very pivotal to be able to move quickly. When you move from a company like P&G to Honest, you realize that P&G has a lot of processes. It has a lot of givens, right? You have such an intense interview process that the caliber of talent of every single individual is very high at P&G. And you rarely have to assess like team strength, individual strengths. Yes, you have a couple of direct reports, but people is a very strong multiplying effect in these larger companies. You have a lot of process, right? And sometimes maybe even over-engineered process. So things do take a lot of time. And I worked in global roles where it take us 2 years to launch a new innovation, right? And then you also have a lot of expertise and experts within the company that you can kind of reach out to help you maneuver your marketing plan. So there's a lot of givens. When you arrive in these smaller, rapid growing D2C brands, mission oriented brands, there's a lot more fluidity in everything, right? You've got people, you've got process, you've got plans, but all of them have challenges, right? And you almost have to be like a doctor and be able to quickly diagnose, okay, what's happening on the people front? Do we have the right org structure set up to scale, not to where we are today, but where we want to get to in the next 3 to 5 years, right? Do we have the right dynamic leaders to come in and who really are master experts in each of these different areas? Like CRM itself is so, complex and sophisticated versus, media and performance. And what am I building in-house? What am I building out of house? All of these are given in these big companies, right? You have these big agencies, big relationships. It's almost like a carte blanche, what you can do in these smaller companies, and you have to decide, right? Like, so there are a lot more smaller decisions and bigger decisions in these smaller companies. And so when it came to Thrive, I had to basically assess across all the fronts. And even before I could like fully diagnose all the people and all the processes, I had to also acknowledge, do we have a brand strategy? Like, is it written down? Do people even know what it is, right? And that was similar at Honest as well. And so I actually started working on the brand strategy even before I took the job, right? Because Nick and I were talking all these things and I was realizing, oh, this isn't clear. Like, is our, brand values well articulated? What are the 5 brand values, right? And that was like the first very quick step to take, is define the brand strategy, define the value props. What are the points of differences? Who's our consumer? Like, these are big, big choices that are, again, given in the big companies, not in the small ones, right? Who do we focus in short term, long term, midterm, right? And so the brand strategy was step one. I then had to build out actually the brand side of the team. We had a very performance and search-based team. We wanted to basically strengthen both sides. And so building out and bringing in new leaders for creative. We'd never done PR. We'd barely done brand building. So that whole team I had to build out very quickly. Then on the media side, I had to get an expert. And I also had to make choices of where do I want to bring leaders in. And food is a space where actually we've had a pretty good luck of bringing beauty leaders into the food space, because they bring a level of newness and knowledge and thinking and sophistication that we wouldn't get if we just kept industry leaders within the industry, right? And so we brought in a leader with Sephora background to head up some of our media. We brought in another leader from another beauty company to lead up our creative. And we started to see this brand and performance magic happen very, very quickly early on. And we were able to start to scale the business, right? So the process, the plans, the people, all of this had to be fixed. And I was able to do it much faster because I had gone through that honest experience of diagnosing each of these issues, probably more sequentially. I could now do parallel path. And so that cumulatively had a very magnifying effect on the business.
Yeah, that's really cool and interesting to think about bringing in, leadership from those other spaces. Well, yes, it's when you say it now, it seems obvious, like that would make a lot of sense, but I'm sure that wasn't maybe to everybody an immediate fit or something that everyone was like, oh, that's so interesting. When you were working at your other companies, because and correct me if I'm wrong, but Thrive has used TikTok as a way to grow and kind of explode. Were you using the same type of social strategies at other companies as you were when you got to Thrive? Was that something that was, fairly comfortable to you, or was that something that you had also kind of learned when you came into Thrive?
Both. I mean, so they were, I think, a lot of parallels on the meta side of the business, but TikTok was still TikToking. I mean, I remember even when I joined Thrive Market, a lot of CMOs were saying, do you think TikTok's going to be a thing? And it's funny because it's like 5.5 years ago, and now no one can think of not being on TikTok and not being culturally relevant. And so it was a bit of both, like with Meta, there were definitely some fundamentals. And I do believe Meta is a very important engine to help you get your digital marketing strategy right and then scale on top more efficiently. And that has been a consistent learning across companies. But I think TikTok required us to really be creative and just be more TikTok centric and be more native to the platform and be willing to take bigger risks, right? To learn what would work. And, we initially used TikTok really for creative learnings to see culturally what's trending, what topics, and it is still being used like largely like a search platform. People are going to TikTok to be like, how do I make this for my kids? How do I do that for my kids, right? And so we used it largely as a search-based platform. And I think the biggest scale we've seen is with these micro content creators, how much more authenticity and connection there is. And TikTok, to me, it is so connected back to the whole portfolio, right? Because there's so much iterative learning. You have these content creators. You can now do, content creator enabled paid ads, which is really exciting. So you can have that 1 + 1 = 10 effect. And you could also learn like what is truly trending and take that to the other platforms as well. Like, how are they talking about different cultural and health norms, whether it's longevity or wellness, etc. And you just learn so much that it becomes like, to me, a knowledge camp for all these other platforms as well. And so it definitely required us to reboot and rethink on how we can scale with TikTok and win with TikTok and use that to influence the rest of the portfolio. And so I would say the learning curve never stops. Like, even with Meta, we continue to see platform changes, and you continue to need to pivot and evolve both your creative strategy and your media strategy. And it does require both yourself and your leaders to be incredibly in touch with both how Meta is changing and updating their platform, but also the workarounds to, be more creative out of that, right? So as, some of these drawbacks come in on the tighter controls on privacy or whatnot, to me, it just requires us to be more in touch with our consumer, to be more creative with our consumer. And one of the aspects I learned from P&G really well was like, just sit down with your consumer. Like the quals do work. We just did weeks and weeks of quals, and it was phenomenal just to hear different ages and segments of consumers. What are their challenges today? Like it's compared to just a few months ago has totally evolved, right? And bringing those insights for new creative ideas to go and test on these platforms is absolutely key. So yeah, lots of learnings there.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about maybe the current strategy or current focus at Thrive, if you're comfortable kind of talking about what you all are working on right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the current focus is largely the same consistent focus of winning with wellness champion parents. They're our primary target audience, and so we will continue to focus on them. And the big one is back to school. I mean, back to school is already here. A couple of us where we go down to our fulfillment centers to see what's actually going in the boxes. It's very different than the quantitative approach of which you can also check. But when you see what's happening in these boxes, what are the members and our moms buying? We were like, oh, wow, they're already buying all the back to school stuff. I mean, as early as like literally mid-July. And so back to school's here. We're in the midst of launching a pretty big campaign right now to really win with parents. And it's all about, reducing their cognitive load. There's just so much stress for moms. They're so busy. They have so much to do. And, all of the brands that they use have such a small role in their busy lives. Like we just have to understand the role we play. And so our job is to make it easier. Our job is to make it stress-free and giving them innovative brands and solutions, meals that their kids are going to love and their family is going to love, and healthy snacks. So we're launching a lot of new products and snacks. We've got we've got the value box of Thrive Market fruit circles coming in the variety pack. So you can get all the flavors. And these are my kids'
so good.
favorite. Yeah, these are my kids' favorite. And you see them in the playground now, a lot of moms popping them out. So it's become like this new kind of cult favorite mom snack. We laugh. Whenever my son comes back, he goes, I saw 3 moms with it. It's really working, Mom. I'm like, yeah. My little marketer in-house. But we're also launching some exclusive new brands, like Partake is bringing their world's tiniest cookies, which I'm really excited about. So getting these new and exclusive, brands out there for moms, they're always looking to find engaging things for their kids that they're going to be like, oh, what's this new thing, And so we're really, really excited about that. And that's going to be a big one starting soon. Yeah.
That's so exciting. Yeah. Maral, you have to try these. The organic fruit circles. They're like a fruit leather essentially, but they're so good. And they come in different flavors. I got a little value pack. They're amazing.
Yeah, I forgot to mention though, there's also stuff for mom, right? Like moms are doing so much for their family. They're doing so much for their, kids. But what about mom, right? And mom's a human too and deserves something. And so, I often put these into my like little boxes that I sample out as well. But like we have these really great Acure hydrogel patches. We have like magnesium calm for mom at night. We have some really cool lavender mint teas to like help you de-stress. We have an incredible range of supplements. I use a lot of the Thorne supplements myself. Mm-hmm. And so mom also needs, all of these solutions as well, whether it's skincare or self-care to get through this busy season. And we really want to make sure we're a destination for not just the family, but also for mom.
Yeah, I love that. I love the focus on her because she most likely is the one ordering it as well. So she deserves the little treat for herself to be able to throw something in the box. Yes. That's funny.
And those eye masks are great. You can actually wear them to the gym. They're like socially acceptable to be worn at gyms. So
I love that. I know there's no rules anymore. It's great. It's like whatever is good for you and is healthy for you. I think people are like, let's do it. I'm in and I'm willing to try it at least.
Exactly.
When you're talking to those moms, or let's say you all know your audience super well and you know that moms are the focus right now. How do you then decide what channels you're going to spend your money on and what types of marketing you're going to spend your money on? Like, you mentioned that you've kind of bridged the gap with brand and performance, which we've heard before. Some people like the word, some people don't, that brand formance. It's funny. We get different reactions there, but how do you decide then where, your marketing spend is going to go when you're trying to now reach that audience?
Yeah, no, I mean, that one's a pretty straightforward one. So you go where the moms are, right? And I think there's, a couple ways you can learn. I mean, qualitatively, of course, but we also run quantitatively. a lot of data and surveys to see how things are evolving in our busy mom's life. And I mean, let's be honest, moms are on Instagram, right? They're spending a lot of time. I look at where I spend most of my time too, and it's like, on Instagram. And so moms are definitely on those platforms. TikTok is the other one. So a lot of these digital. And what do moms do when they put the kids to bed? They get on streaming, like they're watching the Netflix, the Hulus and whatnot, or with the kids on the weekend, they're watching Disney movies, etc. And so it is just putting your kind of what we call mom hat on and being member centric, and thinking through where she actually is. And both qual and quant data can help you define that. And then setting up strategies to scale across all of those. She's watching, YouTube when she's exercising, right? These are all channels readily and available for that audience. And so it is about thinking through strategically what is her path to purchase. And increasingly today, we're seeing Reddit pop up as well, right? Like moms are going from Instagram, oh, I like this brand. And then boom, what does Reddit have to say about it? Like, what are the Reddit reviews, et cetera? And so that is the other important piece to really have in your strategy, is like thinking through where is she going to get feedback and reviews. And last but not least, moms talk to moms, right? And so at the end of the day, it is about thinking through like that word of mouth strategy. Like, how do moms connect with other moms? And, honestly, if a mom gives me a strong recommendation to buy something, I'll just buy it, right? Like, I will take that over any ad, any marketing, etc. And so thinking through like, what is that organic word of mouth strategy to be kind of in their lives, right? To connect with them and get them excited. And to me, it goes back to these brands, right? Like, why do we bring these innovative, or exclusive brands? Like we're working with one of our cloud brands to create something exclusive that's going to launch in back to school, because we know that's going to be really exciting for mom to get for her kids. So all these innovations, all these exclusive, getting these new and trendy brands onto our site and platform is going to be a real exciter for mom to realize, okay, they really are the destination. And we are actually. Today, we have, I think, over 80 different kinds of snack packs. And we have the largest healthy snack pack destination out there. You just can't beat us. So we're number one. And moms don't know. So it's simple of telling you, like, because they're buying the same kind of snack packs that they were probably buying, when they were growing up. Unfortunately, a lot of those brands aren't healthy. Like, when you look at the labels and you start reading what's in them, the artificial dyes, and my sons still do that. They'd like bring a pack of something and I'm like, absolutely not, put that right back. And I'm like, but if you like those, guess what? Try some of these bear snacks or these snail roll-ups. You're going to love these. And once they eat it, they can't taste the difference. So they're pretty excited, right? And so it's about education, right, as well. And so that's another key vehicle to think through. But yes, that is how we think through. And then we also look for ROI, like which channels are performing more efficiently? Where do we see scale? How do we, move dollars from here to there? But you also have to realize that some channels, back to the brand and performance, do both really nicely. I think most of these channels that I talked do both really nicely. And it may take time to see efficiency, right? And that's okay too. Like, you're in a learning journey to get to where you need to be. But if you're not, like, streaming is not going to be efficient from day one. But as you start scaling, you build that message, your creative breaks through, you start really seeing how that scales, then you start seeing the impact it has on the portfolio, right? And so all of these channels have to be thought through. That time is of essence. You're not going to get efficiency from day one. And while it's easy to become promotional heavy and discount heavy, that's not going to build brand equity, right? So you really have to think through, what is the point of difference? What is the value prop? How are you solving a bigger life problem than just a math problem for the consumer?
Yeah, you totally are selling a lifestyle, and a lifestyle, change for those that are trying to be healthier for their kids. I also loved that one of the other things that I got in my box was from Chrissy Teigen. It's her pancake mix, and I got a cookie mix as well, but I already made those, and my husband ate them all already. But I love that you also have products by moms, for moms, by moms. I mean, yes, of course she's a celebrity, but she has a lot of kids, and I'm sure is maybe busier than a lot of moms, just in terms of, career and everything she's got going on. So if the pancakes are healthy enough and good enough for her kids, I think it's so fun to be able to give that to other moms as well.
Totally, totally. We also launched the Cloud, Kardashian Cloud High Protein, and that
Yeah, the
has been
popcorn.
just, yeah, the popcorn. And it's hard to do a protein popcorn, right? That is no seed oils and has, all the right ingredients and tastes good. So again, it's like you can make these products, but when they don't taste good, the torture chest are the children. They're not going to be reading the labels and saying, "Oh, no seed oil, that's great." They're just going to tell you yay or nay in a bite, and my kids love it, and so these brands that are like founder made, there's a lot of thought put in not just like the ingredients but like the taste emphasis. Like it has to pass the kid torture test on taste, and that's the exciting part. Like when you start seeing the kids swap and they don't notice the difference versus the buttery microwave over processed over engineered, you really feel good. And you can tell because they don't have that sugar crash or that like burn after. They're healthy and they're feeling great. And so all these things build up. And to me, it's like, I don't think any mom's actively trying to make her kid less healthy. They just genuinely don't know, right? And
Yeah.
that's the role of marketing, is to bridge that gap and give you the solutions. Like one of the other big insights we've learned is like, you don't have to force your kids to be the healthiest, right? Just be healthier, right? So it's one step more, right? And so like pushing a salad down my son's throat is going to be really hard. But telling him there's mac and cheese like Goodles that has like 18 power ingredients and superfoods and whatnot, but tastes like a mac and cheese, I mean, it's win-win for both. And so it is finding those solutions and being creative, but keeping a high bar on not just healthy, but tasty as well.
Yeah. So where do you see Thrive moving in the next, let's say, 5 years, if you had to look at it from, a overall company kind of perspective, but also just from your marketing lens?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, we've already started some of these trends, but I think they will just get bigger in the next 5 years. The first one is really the emotional space of helping consumers. There's so much cognitive overload in the grocery shopping space. It's, when you go into an average retailer, they have 20 to 30,000 SKUs. We have a marginal amount of SKUs compared to that, only about 6,000. And I think the biggest trend I see is reducing cognitive overload for wellness champion parents and consumers. And one of the things we've already started to do, but we're just scratching the surface, is the AI shopping cart that helps take a few key questions that we ask you and really personalize the experience to create a box that works for your family's health goals, that works for your family health needs.
Mhm.
And, even within the family, there are different health goals and health needs, and being able to understand that. And then really within seconds, curate a box that's like perfect for your needs, that you're like, wow, I couldn't have thought of this myself. And when you think about today, how most people are grocery shopping, it's still very list based, it's repetitive, it's buying the same things. And once in a while, you discover something new. How do we make discovery such a core part of the experience where you're always discovering all these new and exciting brands, but through AI, right? Like through what's recommended. So it's very quick, right? And so I think the AI, lens, of course, it's transformative in all of marketing and creative and all, but I think in the shopping experience, it's going to be a really, really big lever. And I think that will continue to be a lever for marketing to use. And like, there's so many tools now, and where, what would take like a month to go and edit and produce and like make an ad, now an AI thing can just help you really take a lot of that production work, the back-ended work that the consumer is not even seeing, in a matter of seconds, and help you edit and fix and whatnot. And so for marketing, I think all of these AI transformation lenses will continue to be a big one. I think there'll be a lot more on the selection and product and assortment, just deep diving on consumers' needs, so that when you think about Thrive, and I compare it to Amazon, but we are not Amazon, and we're not anti-Amazon, but we call ourselves un-Amazon. But what was the beauty of Amazon was it continually transformed itself, right? And I think Thrive is very similar, that we have to continually transform ourselves, because healthy isn't stagnant, right? Healthy is changing in our landscape, and how we defined healthy 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and now is also changing, right? And so where healthy will be in another 5 years, it's going to be hugely transformational. And so for us, it's also redefining what is healthy for the next 5 years, right? And people are becoming so much more conscious of, even doing like biomarkers and testing on themselves of like,
Mhm.
what is my health? And they immediately then have to think about, what do I need to do? And help being holistic. What do I need to eat better? How do I need to sleep more? What about my stress? And I think being a solution set of holistic health is a big area and role that we can play in, even beyond food, right? It can help with your sleep. It can help with your stress. Are you taking the right supplements? Are you, doing that healthy walk? And it goes back to that lifestyle that we're talking about. But people are bridging that gap between their health data and the shopping experience. And so I think that's going to be, without sharing too much, the next big transformation of how we can really help you reach those health goals in a far more data-driven, informative way than it's been done in the past. So super excited about these trends.
Just tell me what I need to buy. I literally went to the grocery store with a long list yesterday, and it's one of my least favorite things to do. So
Yeah. Try doing that with 2 kids. Try doing that with 2 boys.
I can't imagine. It's funny, I'm not a mom yet, hopefully someday, but I can't imagine how, or even just the friends I know that are moms, their kids are like, they really liked this one week, and then the next week they don't like it anymore, or they're like not willing to eat it anymore. I'm like, perfect. Thrive has so many different options. Now we can just pick through different things and they can try different things. Because gosh, that has to be so hard. You're used to buying stuff, and then all of a sudden they're just like, not today.
We actually have, for parents, but in general, we have this healthy barcode scanner, which is pretty cool, where you can pick up any product that's like unhealthy, and you just scan it, and we will recommend, what are alternatives. So that is often some hack I do. And my son brings me something, and I'm like, okay, what can I give him instead of this? Immediately, because they just want options, right? And it's such a great tool to use to make it, super easy for moms to be like, okay, you're not having these chips, but how about these Siete ones? These are fantastic. Let's try these, So yeah, exactly.
That's so smart. Well, Amina, I know I've taken up a good amount of your time. I love to end with just a couple of rapid fire questions just to learn a little bit more about you and less about, just your marketing career, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. So this is just, fun questions. Whatever comes to your mind first, go ahead and throw out the answer. Okay, what is your favorite city in the world?
Singapore.
Oh, good one. I've never been. It's on my list.
Yep.
Person, dead or alive, that you'd most like to sit down to dinner with?
Oh, Oprah Winfrey.
Amazing. Love. In 30 years, what do you think people will be nostalgic about?
I still think it's the same thing. It's family, childhood memories. It always brings you back.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, if you had to sum up the internet in one sentence, how would you do that?
The internet in one sentence, probably in one word, evolving is how I would say, just with AI and how, it's transforming how people search and how much time is spent on, Google now versus ChatGPT.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, if your team had to describe your energy or your vibe via a cocktail, what cocktail would you be? If you drink. If not, then you can.
I used to. So I will tell you, my classic drink is mint mojito. So light, breezy, kind of a little healthy, but not. But yeah, you don't feel bad after having it. You feel easy breezy. So mint mojito.
Yes, there are definitely worse options in terms of healthy cocktails, or non-healthy cocktails, I should say. Okay, what is a totally random skill or hobby that you have that has nothing to do with your work?
Actually, one of my favorite hobbies is to travel to 2 new cities every year, and it used to be very global, very with 3 kids. So my best year was when I did Cappadocia in Turkey as one of my key cities, and it was just absolutely fantastic. So I'm also a classics major, so I love going to ancient cities and exploring.
That's really cool. What are the 2 cities you've been to this year? Have you knocked them off your bucket list yet?
No, I have not knocked off 2 new cities yet. So
there's still time.
6 more months to go. Yes,
there's still time. Okay,
unless you count Reno, which is where our fulfillment center is.
I mean, it counts if you've never been there. That totally counts. That's a new city. Do you have any non-negotiable, rituals or habits? It can be focused on, healthy living or not.
I mean, my non-negotiable is working out every morning. I just do it every day. And now I take my kids also during the weekends to do it as well. And it can be any kind of workout, right? Like swimming, It can be yoga. It can be cardio. Strength training is my bigger one right now these days. But literally, I like to start my day physical before mental and keep that kind of movement throughout my day. And then I like to end the day with like, after dinner, just doing another 10-minute power walk. That has helped me sleep so well and just like helps you maintain your sugar level as well.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Last question. Do you have any brand crushes outside of grocery land that you're just like absolutely loving right now?
Yes, I do. So I'm actually using longevity-based skincare right now, which a lot of people I don't know about. I guess that reveals my age as well. But I'm loving this timeline serum and cream, and it has the ability to affect at a cellular level, so it affects your mitochondria and your skin. And ever since I've started using it, I definitely have been getting more compliments on my skin, which I never did. And I
Great.
feel like now I don't need as many products. I don't need as much makeup, like because my skin is just like from the inside out, like actually repairing. So I'm very big on these kind of, longevity based skincare. So yeah.
I love that. I said that was my last question, but then that prompted another question. Do you have a, just to manifest and throw it out there, do you have a dream partnership for Thrive, whether it's a specific person you're partnering with or another brand that you're partnering with?
Um, we're not actually doing any partnerships. We've tried them in the past. And, in the end, it's really about bringing people back to like healthy living and a lifestyle and platform. I mean, in the future, we'd be open to like working with gyms and whatnot. So I could throw out Equinox there. But right now, not any major partnerships. We still have a long way to go to just get parents really seeing us as the destination for healthy living.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to watch how it continues to grow, and I'm super excited to finish all of my snacks that were sent over. The box is really great, and now I have to go online and look at everything else that's available because everything really was tasty. So, if people want to follow along and find you all, where's the best place to find everything Thrive?
LinkedIn and Instagram would probably be the two best places to find me.
Okay, that's amazing. Well, make sure everybody goes and tries Thrive. And if you liked this episode and learned some things along the way, please hit the subscribe button so that you can follow along with all of our episodes. And we will be back with more insight from amazing CMOs next week. But Amina, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Haley. It was wonderful to be here.